All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome in. Ryan here with my brother Matthew with the LA Sports Brotherhood, here to talk some Dodgers after they just kicked the Giants' asses. I'm feeling really good. We had a bunch of great performances, real standouts. We have a lot of stuff to talk about though. So Matt, what initial thoughts coming after this series?
Yeah, I feel good. It's always good to sweep the Giants. I thought the pitching was great. The lineup for sure has been great. And yeah.
Yeah, it's well, we're gonna get into all of it. So let's recap these games. What do you got for us, Matthew?
All right, so starting with game one, the Dodgers strike first with an RBI ground out from Shohei in the first. They had two more later in the third, thanks to Will Smith and Freddie Freeman. But Conforto goes deep in the sixth, but that wouldn't be enough as Teoscar goes deep yet again, and the Dodgers would add a couple more. In the bottom of the seventh, they go Paxton to Brazier to Kelly to Lamet, and the Dodgers win 8-3. Game two, the Dodgers start early yet again with an RBI single from Freddie. And boy, is that top of the lineup special. I mean, they've been making history. But the Giants get the run back with an RBI single from Nick Ahmed. They then take the lead with an RBI single. But you know that wouldn't last forever as MVP Mookie Betts with his fifth home run of the year ties it at two. And the Dodgers add on to the lead in the fifth with a Lux double and a Kike single. And the Giants would also add a couple more runs, but it wouldn't be enough as the Dodgers would go Brazier to Yarbrough to Vesia to Grove and to Phillips with a 4-out save. Dodgers won the bullpen game 5-4. And then lastly, game three, Dodgers look for the sweep and they get on the board in the second, but the Giants tie it on a Patrick Bailey home run in the third. But a pair of hits from Smith and Teoscar put us back 3-1, and then Miggy Rowe hits his second homer of the year. How about that? And that extends our lead to three. But the Giants get two back in the sixth. But how about this? Shohei Ohtani hits his first home run of the year, and the crowd erupts. But Jorge Soler answers right back, and he hits a ball that still has not landed to cut the lead back to one. But it wouldn't be enough. We go Glass now to Kelly to Hudson to Lamet, and the Dodgers win 5-4 and sweep the Giants.
Yeah, it's a lot of notable stuff you said. Great series. Really excited. Really, it was the first Dodgers Giants series I remember in a while where both teams are at least pretending to be good like the Giants are. Where I felt there was zero sweat. There was zero like, oh, we might lose this game. Like they were in control every single inning. They were in control of every inning of the Cardinal series too, except for the Joe Kelly inning. They would have swept that very easily if it weren't for him. Um, yeah, it was just kind of like an easygoing ass kicking, which is fine by me. I'll take that all year. But yeah, okay. So generally, we would talk about our ideas of the games and stuff, but I think for each series going forward, we really want to hit on three key points that really stood out to us. So I'll go first. Give my first point. This is going to be an overwhelming positive for the rest of the show, but I kind of want to get the potential negative out of the way. From the beginning of the season, uh, Dave Roberts talked about how Outman and Lux were not going to be a platoon. They're going to get the run. And Gavin Lux, so far, we faced three lefty starters. He has not started one of those games. And Outman started one of them, but then he went over. So yeah, I'm really interested to see because like this lineup has been unbelievable. I don't think they got to 5 runs today. Did they? Oh no, they did. They did.
I
I'm tripping. I'm
believe I
tripping.
believe so.
They
Yeah.
absolutely did. Okay, so that means every single game so far, they have scored 5 runs, which is the first time in Dodgers history. At least modern Dodger history, while they were called the Dodgers. And like that's historic offensive output. But you look at these OPSs from the team, there are five positive ones, and the rest are significantly below positive. So it's like, and I don't think this is like a long-standing issue potentially, but and we got Mookie, Freddie, Will Smith, Teoscar. They have been carrying this offense like crazy. Max has been productive, which I love, but I mean, Gavin Lux under 500 OPS, Chris Taylor under 500 OPS, James Outman OPS plus of 6. I mean, Shohei, he's not really part of this because he hit a home run today. There was absolutely no doubt. But these other guys, I don't know. There's and Jason Hayward just got hurt. Honestly, Miguel Rojas has kind of saved us a little bit, just being able to give us something. I know I jumbled a lot of points there, but I mean, as a negative person I am, I suppose I see half of this lineup like being legitimate black holes, and the replacements too, like Kike and Hayward haven't been good either. Taylor hasn't been great. Like I don't very early, and I think I trust some of them to get out of it, but that was our biggest kind of worry going into the season, and seeing it play out immediately is not my favorite thing. I don't know. What do you have to say about these? The bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is an area of concern. I mean, it's crazy to say that like you said we made history, but I mean Mookie's leading every single stat. Smith, Freddie, all those guys have been amazing. But it's like it's to the point where I see a left-handed lineup and I see Kike Taylor, Rojas, and I'm just like oh shoot, like I don't know. And then it's not much better against righties. Outman has been just flat out horrible. Lux hasn't been great, and now Hayward's hurt. Is definitely concerning. I think very early, but I think a change of scenery in the outfield, maybe a new bat, couldn't hurt because I think that's my one biggest concern so far is the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, and I don't want to start putting players on new teams either way in the ninth game, but this is something we knew that was very possible. And again, I'm looking at this list, and it's like Chris Taylor struck out 5 times in 12 plate appearances. James Outman struck out 8 times in 30 plate appearances. Like that's not surprises to me. Outman, I think, is a specific case because he has 6 different at bats that have ended with him hitting the ball. I think 105 plus, or at least 100 miles an hour, and 5 of those were outs, and one was like a single. So when he's hitting the ball, it's still hard, which is good. But I don't know. And Outman actually, I think, is the least likely to move because they just like him and he's cheap and controllable. But yeah, I think that left field platoon or right field, I guess, because Teoscar is kind of playing right with Hayward out now. That's gonna need to be addressed. I think, or bring up Pajes. I don't know. But either way, yeah. So that's my one negative thing before we get into the rest of the series. What's your first point that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think that'll be the last negative thing. I have pretty much all good points. My first point is kind of highlighting the second game. It's kind of gonna go all over the place, but just winning a bullpen game versus their ace,
Hmm.
I think that just feels different. I feel like in past Dodger teams, we're talking about 100 plus win Dodger teams, you can just bookmark those losses when it's like either fifth starter or bullpen versus ace. It's just it almost feels like it almost always felt like it was gonna be a loss. And that since the first inning, I thought we were gonna win that game all the way through. And I think that's credit one to the bullpen and two just to the lineup. I feel like we're always in games. I feel like we're always going to be in the game. Even the to go back to the Cardinal series when Kelly blew it, I felt like the Dodgers were going to come back. I mean, it's a relentless offense, mainly right now thanks to the top of the order. But I don't know this series in general. I think it feels different. I think it's an exciting team and an explosive team. More importantly, that we can always go back, and that's the hitting side of it. And the pitching side of it, I mean, it I'll transition to my second point, which is
Yeah.
kind of about the pitching and the bullpen. I think I've seen a lot of comments like, I mean, it's stupid fans, but it's like, oh well, I mean, how are the Dodgers number one in the power ranking? They've been giving up like 4 runs a game. I just want to address like Michael Grove and Yarbrough giving up runs in a game where we're up by 3. That is not a concern. I think there's going to be a lot of questions about the bullpen, like, oh, we're going to blow this, we're going to blow this. Have a limited staff right now. Bruzar's hurt, Trinan's hurt, and we're missing like five starting pitchers. I think we have our top guys in the bullpen, and it's a great bullpen. We just got to get healthy. So that's my second point. Is kind of the bullpen isn't healthy right now, but we have our guys, so it's not a concern to me. I know fans always freak out about the bullpen, but to me, I think fully healthy, you got uh, Phillips, you got Trinan, you got Brusdar, you got Hudson, and you got Brazier. All of who look good. I know Hudson gave up just moonshot today. But I mean, everyone makes mistakes. So yeah, my point is pretty much I think the Dodgers are always going to be in games because of the lineup and the bullpen showed out so far, and I think it'll continue to show out. But we're not the healthiest right now.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, the thing about bullpen pitchers will never, ever, ever get the respect they deserve because especially if you're a good bullpen pitcher, the main criticism of you is going to be, oh, well, he always gives up home runs in big moments. He always gives up runs in big moments. But like they only pitch in big moments. Unless they are perfect, they're going to give up some runs. And that's just I don't know, it's just something I see a lot of and it's like I don't think you really understand like pitchers giving up runs in big moments I think is probably a little bit more of a criticism just because you would be pitching really deep into games and like you can be taken out. But like bullpen pitchers go into every heated moment of the game. That's what they exist for. So yeah, I just always think that criticism is funny. But yeah, I if there's one thing for sure that I would say needs to be addressed in the bullpen, it is a lefty. I love Vesia. I just like as a player, I do not want to go into any series with him being the number one lefty. Brazier has really good reverse splits, which I think that's why they got rid of Caleb Ferguson because he was not good against good teams, and he had reverse splits as well. So going lefty on lefty didn't help him, and they would do that instead of using Brazier, who was lights out last year and had elite right on left splits. So I think that's genuinely why Ferguson's gone. Also because he didn't have any options. But yeah, I it's good. Also going back to the lineup because you mentioned it in your first point, I I'm really only talking about three spots here because the top six has basically won us every game that we have, except for I think it was the bullpen game, game two against San Francisco, where the bottom of the lineup actually got active. But like Shohei hasn't been hitting, but he's scored 5 runs and he has some RBI and he's walking like so he's being productive and obviously again no worries about him. But Mookie, Shohei to his extent, Freddie, Will Smith, Max Muncy, and Teoscar Hernandez have been incredible, and that's players in the lineup. So that's why we're scoring 5 runs a game. That's why we are going to win so many games. So yeah, I didn't want to sound too dour in my last note. Okay, so for my second, I am going to highlight Will Smith. He is second in the team in hits. I'm looking at stats that are not including today, so it probably gone up or down. Um, Honestly, I personally have always been non-committal on like full on Smith love. One actually just because I thought he wasn't going to get extended. They have so many catching prospects, highly touted catching prospects that I thought, I don't know, because they've never been an extension team. They've always kind of just been like, "Oh yeah, thanks for your service." Even when I don't want them to be like that. But he got his money and he's come out like looking so good. He doesn't the slugging isn't super there for him right now just cuz he hasn't hit his home runs yet. But I mean, he looks so locked in and it's so nice to see. It's also nice to see 10 games played or 9 games played and Austin Barnes only has 1. I'd like to keep that ratio, maybe 15 to 1, I don't know. But yeah, this is a quick one because it's just a single guy shout out. But Will Smith, he like gets kind of tertiary love from fans, where it's like they talk about the best catchers in baseball, and JT Realmuto is still coming up in those conversations still for some reason. But it's like him, it's Sean Murphy, it's William Contreras now. It's everybody but Will Smith. And then they're like, oh yeah, Will Smith's good. And then they look at his baseball reference page and look at his stats. It's like, oh wait, he's actually the best catcher that's in the league right now. So yeah, I just want to give him some love because no one really else does. But yeah, all right. What's your third thing, Matthew?
Yeah, yeah. Just real quick to add on to your Smith point. Yeah, I mean, it's really good to see him get that money and then come out swinging. And as much as I never want to talk about it again, he was the only guy that hit in the playoffs
Yeah.
last year in that LDS. And that'll probably be the last time we bring that series up, but it is important to highlight. He's one of our clutch guys.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of jumbled the first 2 points together, my first 2 points together. I'll give a real quick, I want to highlight two guys before my third most important guy. So first, we got to talk about Paxton because five innings pitched, no runs. Did give up 5 walks, which is way too high, but I mean that's he has a little bit of history of that. That real quick, that's exactly what we need. He's a fifth starter, potentially going to be the sixth, seventh with injuries back. That's all we need. Just give us innings. 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs. That's all I care. Just give the bullpen some rest. Second guy, Dinelson Lamet. You know, 2 innings pitched on game one, I believe, and then closes out game three. We've seen a lot of projects before, and I mean, I'm not ready to go there yet. I mean, we don't even know if he's gonna stay on the roster. Probably not, but it's interesting to see. He's one of those guys who was a name before. Maybe they can tap into something.
Yeah, 100%.
So for my third point is gonna be Tyler Glass now. So I feel like I can talk about Glass now for hours. He's a very entertaining pitcher and just very fun to watch. But I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So I have two main points for him. The first is going to be to get ahead in the count. He is a absolute power pitcher at 6'8", and he has just a dominant fastball. He's given up just 4 hits off his fastball in 17 innings so far this season. So he can't afford to get behind in the count. One, because his fastball is just so good, he should be aggressive with it. But two, because he has 0-2 count breaking stuff and not 2-0 count breaking stuff. And that may sound a little bit funny because everyone's off speed is better when they're ahead in the count. But what I mean by that is in his case, for the most part, when he throws off speed, it's going to be a swing and miss or it's going to be a ball. Compared to someone like Kershaw or Yamamoto, where they can throw their off speed for a strike and throw it behind in the count, any type of count. Glass now is someone who has to be aggressive with a fastball to get ahead, and then he throws the breaking stuff off of that. So we see him just go behind 2-0, 3-0. One that frees the hitter to just sit fastball, and two, it's obviously going to lead to walks. And then my second point is fairly simple, is to limit mistakes in the zone with his off speed. I think he looked great in today's game, but he made a couple of mistakes. The first was a hanging slider hit for a home run, and the second, 2 runners on, and he doesn't necessarily hang the curve, but he leaves it in the zone, which is where he did not want it to be, and it was a single. Two of the 4 hits were on those two mistakes, and all 3 runs were on those two mistakes. So I mean, overall, when watching him the rest of the season, the rest of the 5 years of his contract, the keys are going to be to get ahead in the count, don't fall behind, and just his command of his off speed. Because I think in his second outing, the slider looked fantastic. He was hitting low and away. He was hitting low and into the lefties. That pitch specifically, he's got to have perfect command with it. He can't afford to leave it hanging. And I mean, I think he gave up 2 hits the first start, 2 hits the second, and 4 this start. He doesn't give up a lot of hits.
Yeah.
So what's going to hurt him is home runs when they do hit the fastball and walks. So he's just got to get that command down. He's got to get ahead.
Yeah. 100%. I like that was the main reason for his struggles in the 6th inning today. Every count, it was fastball, 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 3-0. Like that just doesn't leave you any leeway. Because I mean, we saw he caught Chapman looking on a curveball, so like he has the ability to get it in the zone, but it's just not as effective. That was, I mean, that curve specifically was disgusting. So that's going to be effective no matter what. But just generally, he wants to pitch it off the fastball tunnel, and he throws fastballs low and in and low just in general a lot. So a lot of his breaking stuff is just going to be in the dirt off of that same tunnel. So yeah, that's why when he looks a little wild, it looks pretty bad, honestly, especially with the breaking stuff. I think Oral was talking about it in the booth. He's like, yeah, he just doesn't really have a feel for the breaking ball today. Like a bunch of spiked balls. And like, obviously, Oral knows. But I mean, that's the reason. It's because he's playing off these low fastballs because he's throwing 97 at the knees and it's freezing guys. And then what? But when he mishandles the breaker, it's just spiked. It's like 56 feet. So yeah, that's a great point. If you haven't seen it, you can go check out Matthew's initial Glasnow breakdown. Really nice. Um, yeah. So my third point, I said I was getting away from the negativity. This isn't really negative, but it's about the bullpen specifically. Um, Lamette, you mentioned, and I wanted to talk about him a little bit, but for me, it is identifying who they trust, and Lamette plays into that, but Joe Kelly also does. Joe Kelly has 3 appearances or 4 appearances. 3 of them are in legitimate high leverage, including today. One was like kind of late mop up duty type thing after his blow up with the Cardinals, but he very much still has the trust of everybody as a high leverage reliever, and I don't know how I feel about that. I've said that before. I'm gonna keep saying it. But also Lamette, he could very well could have just been cut like Nabil Chrismat was. They threw him 2 innings. I was expecting him to be cut, honestly, because Chris Matt looked fine. He was good. He was solid. He had 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. He bridged the gap to win, and they DFA'd him because they were bringing up. I don't even remember who it was for, but they were bringing up another arm because he wasn't going to be able to pitch. So they do the same thing for Lamette. They put Brewstar on the 60 day. I think that was for a different pitcher, but regardless, they DFA'd somebody to make room for Lamette. So it's like, oh, okay, well here's a new pitcher, and he threw 2 innings again to end the other game, and I was like, okay, so that's it then. But no, he stayed. They DFA'd another pitcher instead of him, Matt Gage, the guy they traded, uh, one of the guys they traded Caleb Ferguson for, and I was very surprised by that. And then they specifically pitched Daniel Hudson against 1, 2, 3, the highest leverage in the 8th inning, who I assumed was going to be closing today, and left the close for Lamette. And we talk about body language and just like actions in general speaking louder than words, like just generally. Lamette getting that chance, that speaks a lot to me. I think they see a lot in him. Matthew, you mentioned him as like a potential prospect or a project, I should say. Like every year they have somebody like that. I am praying that he can be that because if they get him to harness the fastball and the slider, that combo, he would be an unbelievable 1 inning reliever. I don't have my hopes set high yet because in his strikeouts this game, all of them were because his slider was hanging so much to righties that they just didn't know what to do, which is effective. But if you look at Will Smith setting up, it was very much low and outside. Like he was supposed to be low and outside. They spun and hung, like they hit the top high and in corner. It's not sustainable to pitch like that. But the fact that he was a non-roster invitee and he actually survived 2 innings, that says a lot to me. So first, shout out to him, first save in his career. He was like legitimately terrifying for me as a Dodger fan to face when we were playing. I was like, oh crap. Okay, when he was with the Padres 2020, or like when he was healthy, I would see him against the Dodgers and be like, okay, so this is a loss. The same way Matthew was talking about like bullpen game versus ace, we would chalk it up as a loss. I would chalk up Lamette games as like, okay, if we win, it's 1-0, and because he has crazy stuff, and he had one slider today. I don't know how many pitches he threw, probably like 10, 15. He threw one slider that was reminiscent of those times and sparked a little something in me. So yeah, shout out to Lamette. I wanted to focus on him a little bit. I think they think he can be a very real player, and I'm hoping so because that would be a great addition to a bullpen that kind of needs it right now. Okay, so we each got 3 things. Matthew, you got any last words about this series? Maybe want to look ahead to the series against the Cubs.
Just real quick to add on to kind of like your bullpen point with Lamette. I think like I said earlier, because the injuries, there's going to be a lot of times like this where it's like, man, we have like 2 guys left, and Kelly has to pitch in this big scenario. Lamette has to pitch in this big scenario. It's going to be tough with all these injuries, And I mean, you can't burn out Phillip, you can't burn out a Brazier. There will be times like this. So having someone like that would be huge just to have a new arm that you can trust. Because I mean, right now I don't trust Grove, I don't trust Kelly, and I don't trust Vesia for sure. So I mean, the Met could potentially be huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. One last thing. You said Grove. This was part of my point that I forgot. Thank you for saying that. They need to give up the multi-inning stuff with Grove. He never blows up in the first inning. In fact, he always looks really good in the first inning, and then the second he throws another pitch after sitting and coming doing up down as they call it, taking a break in between innings, it's just blows up. Like seriously, just let him pitch one inning, and that will give you more in the bullpen. Having him throw 40 pitches and 15 to 20 of them are bad and put you in a bad hole instead of just having him for potentially multiple times a series and going inning to inning. It's hurting the bullpen right now because you have two guys that you only have quick math 8 guys in the bullpen total, and two of them are long relievers. Ryan Rabro is basically a starter on this team. They're going to keep doing bullpen games and say, oh, as a bullpen, he's the sixth starter right now. So whatever, that's fine. So you have 7 guys. And then Michael Grove, you're only throwing in multi-inning relief. So that means you only have 6 relievers available to you at a daily basis. Like in the bullpen game, they only used 5 relievers because they didn't have anybody else. So yeah, just let Michael Grove throw one inning. That's fine. He's good at that. And then you have an extra one inning guy. You don't need a bunch of long relievers. Anyway, so yeah, that's my last point. Thank you for saying Michael Grove. Oh my goodness. All right. So I think we said everything we would like to say. Uh Incredible series. Shohei first home run. I'm so excited. Chicago needs to watch out. He's going to hit multiple home runs that series. I think despite us being 7-2 right now, and or 8-2 even, I think, um, it's just I think we're just getting started. Shohei, I feel like he's just the burden has been released. He hit his first home run. He can lock in a little bit, relax, and the ball's only starting to roll. Any last words, Matthew?
No, Friday's matchup against the Cubs, Bobby Miller versus Kyle Hendricks. I mean, you can't get any that is as diverse a style as
Yeah,
common. I mean,
polar
100 versus
opposites.
89. So I think, like you said, look out for Shohei because I mean, look out for the entire top of the lineup
Yeah, if
against
Shohei
Hendricks.
starts and Mookie's hitting 500 and Mookie's hitting like Mookie, everyone is hitting like everybody, and you just throw in the best hitter on the planet just in between, like he was taking a break. I think this could be a really nice streak we're going on, and I cannot wait to see it. So yeah, it's me, Ryan, with Matthew for LA Sports Brotherhood. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Go Dodgers.